Hello everyone. I'm using my new setup to stream today some work I will be doing to a testing library for Uxntal that I'm calling Zen or Zental. And basically I want to use this library so I can make some sort of Uxntal koans similar to Ruby koans, uh, which I can explain later what it is, but I mean you can search for it, and it's a really cool program that teaches someone a new language because it has been ported now to several other languages. But it originated as a Ruby program that taught you Ruby by fixing test cases. So basically that is how I plan to use it, as well as for normal test-driven development as much as possible. Let me start by creating a new window. I'm here in Tmux. Tmux is this program that gives me this button bar, and I can just use it like a sort of like a desktop. So now we are here, and I'm already in Tmux, so I don't need to run it again. I have this folder for projects that we will be streaming, or I'll be streaming and we will be working on. Let me see, where did I put it is yes. So this is the library and what I have now. Let me just do a make clean and tree again. So basically we have send.tal, which is the actual library. Then we have several test files that use it. And let me just clean everything here. Okay, and now okay, so that should leave us only with this file. Perfect. So now first let's see a little bit how the library looks right now and how I use it. So this is the current API. It has a test function which accepts a byte ID, and then you use an expression that evaluates to a boolean, and then the function asserts if it's true or not, and this will be logged to the console using colors. So this is intended to be run in Linux environments or Unix-like environments where we can have the standard ANSI color codes, which we will see later on how they are used. We have the summary here. Let me just share the stream because I forget that. Okay. So in order to share it, click here, copy. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I have the link. Just paste it here. Okay, so I have shared the link, so if someone wants to tag along, let me see. We have also summary will pre-print all the results. Quiet is the default. It will only report failed tests. Verbose will also print successful tests. And then here we have 3 logging functions. This one just takes the message, but this this one takes a flag, the message, and returns the flag, as well as this one here. The first one logs only if the flag is true, and the second only if the flag is false. And in order to organize our tests, we have set and subset routines, along with end set and end subset. I want to add these other 2 functions, early and late, late being the default, so that it just runs all the tests and gives you the report, but early should exit with an error on the first failing test. And this is how Ruby commands work. So it would give you a bunch of test cases. You run the program, and the first test will fail, so you have to go and fix it, learn something about the language, and then you run the tests again, and then you have to fix the next test, and so on. And each test will teach you something particular about the language. So we need to exit early, because else only nobody knows what would happen, like with the stack and all that. So just to have a little bit of control, just fail and exit immediately. Okay. So that's the API. The implementation, I think it's very simple. Here I use just some ANSI color codes. You could change the colors just by changing these values. And then we have here the implementation of the public API, which is just the functions that I just described. After all this, we have the private API. Just starting here, all the functions have a plus sign prepended, just to know that this is not something you should be calling like that directly. And at the very bottom, we just have our strings and the version. So that's basically it. It is around 200 lines of code. So first, let's run this one, the send dot tau test. Let's look how that looks. So in order to use Uxntal, you just need to go to the bottom of your file and include it using this concatenation run syntax. I just put lib send.tal, and that would include the previous file we just saw. Okay, so after that, we go to the beginning again. Here is just, this is like some sort of advanced test, but I just want to give a feeling of how this would look. So you would define your test, you can enable verbose or quiet mode. And the way I thought of organizing this was by using set. Oh, sorry. We would use set here, and we pass as an argument this string that is around curly braces. This would be like the tag or the name of the set, and then indented to keep readability, we have the first subset inside this set, which is just assert1. And this \s is just a textual macro that is placing here a 20 hexadecimal or a 32 decimal, which is the blank or the space, the ASCII space. So after that, we can notice here we end our subset using this function, and then here we have two tests. They are numbered using a byte here, and just for readability, inside the brackets we have the actual expression we want to reduce to a Boolean value, and then just run the test routine. So in this case, this is an example of some of the features, but I will write a new file so we can go along. However, I do want to show you how the set ends here, and then we have another set with another name, its own subsets, then it also ends here, and then we have the summary. We break here because we are on the reset vector. We just called it test sen instead. And after this, we have some routines that the tests are using, like sort of to emulate actual usage. I'm going to heavily use this library in every further project I do with Uxntal, so I expect it to improve over time. Now that we have seen this, let's quit, and we can try to assemble this. First, let's assemble the library. So I have this alias asm. It is, let's see, it is alias to Uxntal, and in my computer no, it's not. Yeah. So in my computer, Uxntal is just Uxntal, rom's driftlim.rom, and pass the arguments. That's it. I have other similar aliases and wrappers that I can explain as they use them. The other one is Cli, this is an alias to Uxntal, which is the default emulator I use most of the time. Okay, so we just do asm lib send.tal, and we are going to put it in bin send.lib.tal. Oh no, .rom. And we can see that it is 768 bytes, exactly 3 RAM UXN pages. I have this dump alias, which is just xdump with C for canonical representation. This just gives us the, let's see, this just gives us the ASCII to the right and a big endian by default. So this is exactly how the UXN RAM would be laid out once this ROM file is loaded. However, not at zeros, but at 256 instead address. That's where the reset vector starts and all UXN programs load. So it is a little big, but I think for all the functionality it gives me, I think it's okay, as we'll see. So now let's, instead of just assembling again, I have a makefile here, so we can remove the bin folder and then run make again. And this is our example test of the file that we just saw before. So basically make will just clean, and then, oh, I forget I am in Tmux and it does this. It will just clean the bin folder, then it will assemble not lib but test.send.tal, which is the file that uses the lib. The test along with the library is 1257 bytes, and then I just print all the symbols using Uxntal rom symbols.rom bin set.rom.sim. And this is everything that the assemble stores as a symbol. And here is where the actual test starts. So the first thing is that the tests are in color for improved readability. We only use very little colors. We only used yellow, cyan, magenta, green, and red. Oh, and white, of course. And a dark background for this to work. But of course, we could change the colors so it could adapt to a light one, but I haven't used it instead so far. So now let me just split here with Control B %, so we can see what is the code that corresponds to the actual test. So we go to change here to source center and the micro. What is this one? It is test. Yes, test select. Okay, so let's see. So we will skip this. I can explain it later because I just want to focus on the structure of the test. So we can see that this send here is in yellow. All the subsets names are in blue. The test itself, the test ID is in magenta, and if it passes or not is in green or red. Then we can have these extra messages that are in white, and this is here with the use of this log function. Shouldn't be equal is what is gets printed here. Okay, then we have these are both conditional logging, and after that we have the test. So that is why we return the flag that we just used. Okay, so let me see. Just a second. Okay. So we have the conditional logging and the test, and I think it's very self-contained. Like the number, the actual test, some extra kind of logging, and just the test. I have to test two things before I forget. I'll just put it here. Or let me actually just open a new file. Let's go with the README. So I have here add early and late, and then we have test verbose quiet by granularity, let's just say. Oh, okay. Make the API global. At early, should I print the stacks only one? Okay, so I have implemented that. No, we always print the stacks, right? Well, I can test that. So we go to 1, 2, wait, 0. Okay, so we go to 0 here, to the Windows 0, and let's see. If we change the verbosity here, let's just say we put quiet. Then we can see only the failed tests are printed. There is no logging at all, even if it failed or not, or it was like an quote-unquote unconditional logging. As long as this is quiet, it will not print. And it will just print the total number of failed tests, which in this case is 3. And the total passed. And these are failing intentionally, so I can test the output, of course. So this is working as expected. So we have the tests and the total sum, and I think, yes, we always print the stacks. And we always print the stacks because there is another constraint that may be useful. Should all tests end with stacks empty? Because if we add this constraint, like just like you have to reduce your expression to a boolean, then we consume this boolean, and after we consume it, the stacks should be completely clean, because this would be like a sanity check. We could have like false positives if the test seemingly passes, but we have some kind of uh, stack unbalance we are not expecting, and it is not printed, it is not tested. It would have to be tested manually in each test. So I think it would be better if we just make it part of like the framework, and if you use the library, you just have to live with that. And I think it's not a big issue. I think it's actually very useful to implement this. So let me save it before I forget it. And then we have yes, only the failed test, and I will do it again so we can see they're both again. And then I have all this extra logging. I have all the past tests with all the logs, even if it passed, even if it failed. I still have to find a way to make this gap smaller. This is like an artifact of trying to add. I'm trying here to add one new line for every subset, and two new lines once we end a set. So this is the send test set, and this is the throw catch test set, and each one has one and two, well, in this case this one has two subsets, no, three, and 1 2 3. This subset has two tests, and I think that is like enough granularity for whatever organization purposes you may have, you may want or need. So basically the only ugly thing right now is this, well, it's not too ugly, it's just here it looks very big because it's two lines, one line, two line, and this is the next ones. That is a little bit weird, but besides that, I think it's working absolutely great. So let's go back here to the code, and let's see other tests I have been doing. Let's just change to equal test. I have empty summary. I also have to implement this. So if we just have this file with test summary break and including the library, it should currently is just print success, then failure, totals passed 0, total test 0, the stacks of course. But I want that in this case we just need to check so that we return nothing to test. We just print this. And then actually let's go implement this right away. Okay, so we have this test. So this is happening. Where was this again? This was in where we are testing. We are at the summary. Yes, we are at the summary because this is the end. So we are at the summary, and we have the condition that we don't have either this or that. So that would be okay. So the naive way would just be to do because here we are already printing things. We would need to do it before. Let me just think about this for a moment. We are loading failed here and we are loading past. And then we stash both of them. So here we would have failed, the failed number, and here we would have failed past. Okay. So, oh, but this is in the return stack. So I use this syntax. So we load the number of failed tests with this here. Then we stash this to the return stack and we check if it is 0. And then we do the same here for the pass test. So at this point in the stack, in the return stack, we have this. Let's do failed. Okay, stash. Then let's do this. So we will have this instead. So this would have the failed loaded and the number of failed tests in the working and both in the return stack. And then this would be failed success, and this one copies. Okay, once we have that, we don't need this. We just need to grab this value that is already in the stack without consuming it. Okay. But this one is now up below. So we need over to R, stash to R, or okay. And now I'm going to consume these two that are in the working stack are going to be consumed by this test. So I do aura. So I check if the first one is okay, I check if the first one is 0, then I check the other one. And then I check the resulting two. And this should tell me if both of these are empty. If that is the case, then we are going to log f string messages nothing test. And we are not just calling this, we are actually jumping into it. This is like a goto. So we do an tail call optimization here instead of using jump to our return. So we are going to let this function return for us instead. Okay, that makes sense. Now I think the only issue is that I don't have this string. But first let's make sure all this is good, because now I would have only this on this stack. So let me just put it here. Now we would have on the return failed, success, and this expression here consumes these two. So after that, we already have this. We are using over, then stash. Okay. Here it's again over. Here it expects the failed to be at the top, but I don't want to use over twice. So instead of over, oh, and that, oh, but this keeps, okay, yes, so that's fine, I guess, because this keeps the value, and then I just consume it here. And that is the failed number. Then here we already start with failed and success. Okay. And here as well it is failed, success. Okay. Okay, and now here it uses success. Okay. Yes, so if there is 0 failed tests, we print success. If there are 0 tests at all, we print nothing to test. And if there are 0 successful tests, we print failure, a complete failure. Okay. Starts to arm message to frame. Yes, because here we need to use the success here. and this just consumes this too. Okay, I think that should work. Just we don't need this anymore. Oh, and it's called past, not success. Okay. Here we are using the return stack. Using the return stack. Okay, I think that should work. And of course it doesn't work. Okay, I need to create this. So it's called nothing to test. Okay, now let's run. Okay, I don't like this format. Let's split the screen this way instead. Yes, perfect. Nothing to test. Okay, so let's cross that one out. So okay, let me just rename this. This is going to be the looping. We don't need matrix anymore. And this is Okay, so should I print the stacks in summary only when verbose? Okay, so we decided that no. I'm going to use always, then make API global. I haven't decided on this. Test verbose. Okay, so this is done. And now we can go to here, and now the test pass. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. It just prints nothing to test. Okay, now we have single fail test. Single fail test prints this. This is in quiet mode. Just prints the fail test. Okay, test quiet. Then test with false and the summary, including the library. That's all. Okay, let's just quickly test. This is still working. Oh, oops. I think I made a mistake here. Okay. And now single test run. And there we go. So we have the fail test. In this case, this is just a single test. It is not either part of a subset nor part of a set. It's just a standalone set that failed. So when all tests fails, it prints this failure and the rest of the code as expected. Okay, now let's see. We have single set. This one is just one set without any subsets and one test that passes. It's still in oh, this one is in verbose. Okay, yeah, but there is not much, but only this test to print. It just prints when it is in verbose. It will also tell us what is the number of sets and subsets that were in the test suite. And this is it. So we just call verbose, summary at the bottom, include the library, define our set, close it, and one test. We are just checking if 2 is equal to 2, which is true, and that is why it just when all the tests are true, it prints success here in capitals. So let's test this one. Single set to bin single set dot run, and then we run bin single set dot row, and there we go. We can see it prints the set. There is no subset, and then the other information. In this case, this looks more compact than the comment because we have tabs to 4. Let's put tabs to 8, and with tabs at 8 it gives us the same output. So I need to remember this when I wrap these tests in Python to actually test this is the output, and I make to make sure that I check the color in the output as well. Okay. Let me just see here. It seems we have an error which we have detected because of the stack. So this is single set. Okay, so single set is giving me here some garbage on the return stack. Let's check what this is about. So we have okay. So this is the test. Now oh, we have send here, but let's just close this one. I don't want to confuse myself. So here it's libs and Uxntal. Oh, what happened? Cds and okay, so we are in a single set. Here. Mm, okay. I will be back in a moment. Okay, everyone. If you watch this later, thank you for watching. And if you are watching this right now, thank you as well. I'm going to go take a lunch and I will go back later this evening. I'm glad we were able to make some progress here on this part that checks the routine, but we currently have the bug. So before I go to launch, I just put here bug, and we have king short. Okay. So when I get back, we can fix this.